let's just look at what 3 things semaglutide does and why it's super attractive when trying to lose weight. It has this great property to it that tricks your brain into thinking you're full. So naturally, there's this process that when you're eating food, that your brain is told by your stomach that, hey, I am full, stop being hungry. So I'm sure you recognize at some point in any one of your meals, you go out to dinner, you look at the menu, all these things sound great. You can't wait to try them all. 2 of those food items come out and you still have one more and you're like, oh, I don't even want to eat that now. Like, I hope it doesn't even get brought out. It's because your stomach actually has enough food in it that it sent a signal to your brain that says, stop being hungry, right? So that hormone that's kind of signaled is mimicked by semaglutide. So it's actually telling your brain, you're full, don't be hungry the entire time you're on it. So you have very little appetite. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that traditionally our stomachs are digesting food at a very particular speed. So as you ever notice, again, if you go out to a restaurant and you have a very small meal, when you leave, you go to an expensive restaurant, you get a little tiny dish, I'm still hungry and I just spent, however much money on this dinner. Well, because what happened, that wasn't enough food to fill your stomach. So you physically felt like there wasn't enough food in your stomach. So you're still hungry. That speed that your body digested that food is a big portion of why you felt kind of gypped out of that bigger meal. So what semaglutide actually does is it slows down gastric emptying, which is the speed that your stomach is digesting the food. And it allows that small portion to actually sit in your stomach a lot longer and make it feel physically fuller. It also allows that one meal that maybe is at dinner to hang out longer. So you don't wake up in 2 hours after going to bed feeling, I'm hungry again. Because traditionally without semaglutide, you have digested that food and it would have pushed itself into your GI tract. And now the stomach is empty saying, feed me again, right? In slowing that process down, you allow that small meal to actually make your stomach stay physically full longer. So now not only is your brain thinking I'm not hungry, but your stomach is actually physically still full with the prior meal. The third thing is that it's regulating your blood sugar. It's helping your pancreas secrete insulin when sugar is present. So when you eat food, your blood sugar levels rise, and then your pancreas traditionally has to secrete insulin to grab that sugar and push it into the cell or do the job that it's intended to do. And that job for some people is easier than others, right? So the lower the glycemic value or the sugar content in a food, the less the pancreas has to produce insulin to combat that sugar that's in our system. What happens when you're taking semaglutide is it optimizes the pancreas's ability to find those sugars or that glucagon or that glucose and kind of shuttle it into the body so it controls the suspended blood sugar a lot easier. In doing that, you control your cravings for sugars and carbs and things that tend to keep your blood sugar levels elevated. So you tend to not find yourself wanting those foods that we know are naturally not great for us, sugar foods, craving foods, alcohol, things like this. So semaglutide has great make you feel full benefits, make you lose your appetite benefit, curb your cravings for carbs and sugars and alcohol benefits. So it makes dieting super easy. It's like an injectable willpower that turns into almost like a chemical gastric bypass to some extent. It kind of turns you into this really easy dieting person. Now, why we use it at Nuviva? Because what is this program based on? It's based on dieting, right? Dieting is not fun. It's not easy. It's not easy to be told to eat less and eat the things that we're not wanting to eat, right? So the idea of going to a restaurant and just having a piece of chicken with, a salad is never really that enjoyable. The idea of eating a smaller portion of food is never something that most people look forward to doing. Taking semaglutide makes dieting easy. It really takes the burden of food away from us and gives us the power back over food. So as we outline these diet programs, these phases that we have, which is a series of different nutrition plans that we outline in particular quantities or styles of food choices, you don't have to struggle through this anymore because the medication's giving you this upper hand advantage over making the right choices, having the smaller portions, staying away from the craving food choices that you tend to typically want, and basically just telling food, F you, I can do this. I can follow a diet. Now, the cons are that number one, there's some side effects that the medication can present. It can make you feel a little queasy and sick at times, which obviously is nothing that's welcomed by most people, to walk around feeling sick to your stomach. But to a certain point, that queasiness is ultimately what makes you not want to eat too. So if you think about when you've been hungover or seasick or car sick, the first thing you don't want to do is like, let's go eat some food. You don't have that kind of feeling in your stomach. So ultimately, you're kind of turned off by food, and so that nauseousness can be a problem, but it also can be avoided if dosed properly and under the care of a proper prescribing practitioner. And our office is pretty skilled at helping with that process to avoid that side effect. Well, some of the other side effects are increased acid reflux and heartburn. And a lot of that comes with the type of food people's, choosing. And again, if following the proper diet and the proper diet choices, you can tend to avoid that. Energy deficiencies where you feel a little bit tired and kind of like lower in energy. We do offer B12, kind of lipotropic energy boosting shots at Nuviva. And that shot tends to avoid the nauseousness because it has anti-nausea properties to it. It also has an energy boosting property to it that kind of gives you a little bit of life. So, those side effects can be avoided. A lot of people hear all this greatness of this particular medication, and it has a fantastic profile to helping people lose weight, but you got to be careful to not overdo it. Starving your weight off is not in any one of our clinics' goals to teach, right? We don't want somebody to lose the good parts of themselves, to lose the muscle mass, to lose the structural fat, or fat in their faces and get Ozempic face or Ozempic butt. We also don't want people to kind of get dependent on this medication to do all the work for them. So they still have to eat a healthy diet plan. They still have to do a healthy exercise plan. They still have to choose water over pop drinks or something else that's going to potentially get in the way of their weight loss results. So semaglutide is typically a very daunting task for a lot of people, dieting, very easy. And so it gives you back the power.